sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. So if it wasn't clear before, like, I never wanted to kill anyone, ever, in my life. Never wanted to hurt anyone, ever in my life. And this is really hard for me. And I wanted to say, if it wasn't clear before too, that I'm sorry to the families, I'm sorry to Mr. Burrs, the father, I'm sorry to Mr. Burrs, the brother, I'm sorry to the mother, Brenda Burrs, and I'm sorry to all the friends and people who were affected by this tragedy. I never wanted this to happen. I'm sorry that this happened, and I can't do anything about it at this point, but try as best I can to make it right. And I just want to say sorry. I'm sorry to the state as well, because they have to deal with this as well. And I'd like to thank you, Your Honor, for being as fair as you can. And I think that's really it.
Thank you, Mr. Hassan. All right, Mr. Hassan, on October 11th, 2024, the jury did find you guilty of counts 2 and 3 of the complaint, the crime of murder in the second degree, unintentional, in violation of Minnesota statute section 609.19, subdivision 2-1, and possession of an unregistered firearm in violation of Minnesota statutes section 609.667, subdivision 3. At this time, I do now accept those verdicts, and I adjudicate you guilty on both of those counts. The unregistered firearm offense occurred first in time. You possessed that firearm before the murder, and so I will sentence you first on that offense, and then I will pronounce your sentence on the second degree murder offense. As to count 3, possession of an unregistered firearm, I am sentencing you to 1 year or 365 days in prison. This is a guideline sentence. The guidelines calls for 365 days stayed, but you have credit for 384 days. So this is an executed sentence that has already been served. I find that this offense is not part of the same course of conduct or behavioral conduct as count 3 within the meaning of section 609.035, and therefore it is appropriate for me to impose a separate sentence for this crime. As to count 2, standing convicted of murder in the second degree without intent, it is the sentence of law and the judgment of this court that as punishment therefore, you shall be committed to the Commissioner of Corrections of this state for a period of 162 months. You will serve 2/3 of this sentence, or approximately 108 months in prison, and you will serve up to 1/3 of this sentence, or approximately 54 months, on supervised release. The Commissioner of Corrections may extend your time in prison up to the entire sentence of 162 months if you commit any disciplinary offenses or supervised release violations. This sentence is to run concurrent with count 3, and therefore you will be given credit for 384 days already served. It is further the order of the court that execution upon this sentence shall begin immediately, and the sheriff is directed to deliver you into the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections. I am going to reserve restitution for a period of 60 days. If I do order restitution, you will have 30 days to object. If you don't object, my order will become final. If you do object, we can have a hearing on restitution. When my order for restitution, if it is made, becomes final, restitution will be due immediately from that point, and sums may be taken from your prison earnings to satisfy your restitution obligation. Because I expect that I will be ordering you to pay some restitution, I want that to be the priority, and so I am waiving the fine, the surcharge, and the law library fee, so any funds that are available are directed toward restitution. You must provide a biological specimen for purposes of DNA analysis, which is usually taken in the form of a buccal swab, and you are prohibited from ever possessing, receiving, shipping, or transporting a firearm. This is a lifetime ban, Mr. Hassan. You have the right to appeal this sentence, and if you are unable to pay the cost of appeal, you may apply for leave to appeal at state expense by contacting the state public defender. If you do intend to appeal either your conviction or your sentence or both, you should do that immediately because there are strict deadlines for filing a notice of appeal. Mr. Hassan, I have sentenced you within the guidelines for second-degree unintentional murder. I have denied both parties' motions for departure. On the state's motion, although I did find that Mr. Burris was particularly vulnerable that night due to reduced physical capacity, I do not believe under these facts that his vulnerability played a role either in the offense, in your decision to shoot him, or in the ultimate outcome. I don't believe it impacted the end result. Although Mr. Burris did have a brace on that limited his mobility, he was shot immediately with, as far as I could tell based on the evidence that I heard at trial, he may have had a second's notice of that. Regardless of his mobility impairment, he was not going to be able to get out of the way, and he was going to be shot 4 times, which is what he was. So even though the factor exists, I don't find that that factor, again, impacted either the commission of the offense, the motivation to commit the offense, or the result. And that is why I'm not, I don't find that it provides substantial and compelling circumstances warranting an upward departure. As to the defense motions for downward departure, I've considered the relevant factors, and I do not find there are substantial and compelling mitigating circumstances that would warrant a departure, either dispositional or durational. Randy Burris's death was tragic, and it was also completely senseless and avoidable. This was a roadside dispute between strangers. Hundreds of these happen every day in our community. I reject the assertion by the defense that this happened because Randy Burris got aggressive with you, Mr. Hassan. Conflicts between human beings happen. People get angry and people yell at each other. Mr. Burris's death is the result of your actions and your decisions and not Mr. Burris. The fact is, that night, you panicked and you made the choice to start shooting when you felt afraid, and you shot an unarmed man 4 times in the chest, basically point blank range. On 2 previous occasions, you have been charged after being caught with marijuana and a loaded gun in your car. I do find those incidents relevant to this incident. I do not find your testimony that marijuana doesn't make you high to be credible. I believe that your voluntary use of marijuana that night contributed to your overblown sense of panic and your extreme tragic overreaction. And the fact that you had a loaded gun within easy reach and you decided to use it in a way that the law clearly does not allow. Mr. Hassan, there is nothing I can say or do here in this courtroom, and probably nothing you can say or do here in this courtroom to ease the pain and suffering of Mr. Burris's family, what they've already endured and what they will continue to endure for the rest of their lifetime. And I am very cognizant of the fact that your family is going to suffer as well due to your absence. I just hope that with time you can come to a place where you truly realize that your decisions and your decisions alone are what caused this. You will get out of prison someday, you will see your family, and you will have memories with your family again. Mr. Burris won't. And I encourage you that when that does happen, that you make the best use of it, and that you do move forward in a positive manner and try to do right, both by yourself, and those around you. Thank you, everyone. The court is in recess.
Thank you, Heather.